Welcome. Welcome, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on if you're catching the replay. We're so excited you've joined us. Welcome to Remember to Love. I am so honored to be filling in for Dr. Jenny. My name is Asha McLaughlin, and I live on the East Coast of the United States. And I'm super excited to be sharing this session with you today. So thanks for hopping on. I'm a yoga and meditation teacher. I'm also a health and wellness coach. And I've also had a 30-year career in strategic branding and identity design. So I really help people find their true brand essence as they launch their businesses. So let's jump right in because I love this subject so much. Cultivating a daily practice of self-love. Why is this important? Now, we know this is a lifelong relationship, right? This is not something that you can cultivate really quickly and have it be in place overnight. These are about making practices over and over again on a daily basis, even if it's just 5 minutes to start, but they really bear fruit when you do them with regularity, right? So practice makes perfect. In preparing for this call, I started to think about self-love, and what kept coming up for me were 3 words: happiness, joy, and love. I mean, wouldn't you agree? Most people want to experience these things: happiness, joy, and love, right? Well, what if I told you that if we truly want to experience these things, they're actually found within our own self? That looking outside ourselves for these things sometimes can be not the best option, and they're certainly not sustainable. So let's talk a little bit more about how to cultivate these practices. So looking within our own selves to try and cultivate these practices, to try and have these experiences on our own, this is what brings contentment and peace, right? So recently I've been reading the work of an amazing neuroscientist named Richard Davidson. He's at the University of Wisconsin. He's an incredible teacher, and I really appreciate his perspective on neuroplasticity. So knowing that the mind and the brain is malleable, is changeable, right? And we have control over it. So one of my favorite quotes from Richard is, he calls himself Richie actually, Richard Davidson, is what we practice, we become, right? So again, what are we doing on a regular basis? How are we caring for ourselves? What practices do I do to honor myself, to bring in my own wellness? Do I take care of myself? Am I one of those people that is constantly taking care of others before my own needs, right? Maybe we have children. Maybe we're taking care of our parents. Maybe it's a husband or a partner or an animal. Whatever it is, we know when we're overgiving and not caring for ourselves. And it really is such a big step when you are ready to honor yourself in this way and put some things into practice so that you can live the life you're meant to live, right? Okay, so getting back to neuroplasticity. So what we practice, we become, says Dr. Davidson. What we reap, we sow. So, I mean, I like to think about farmers when they have their big tools and they're making those deep impressions in the soil. This is how the mind works in terms of repeated mental thoughts. So worries, stresses, things that we tend to go and chew on. We are making these roots, these big connections in the brain. And that becomes difficult to break, doesn't it? I mean, it does. It's difficult to just pick up your tool because it's heavy. You've been used to that, but you have to switch tracks. We know this isn't going to serve you, right? So how can we replace these maybe not so beneficial practices that we've been doing, maybe out of fear, whatever the reason is that causes it, let's start to make a conscious choice to live the life we're meant to live and to live to our full potential, right? So I have a bunch of different things we're going to go over today, all different kinds of things. So some of the practices that I want to share with you for knowing and experiencing self-love are, we'll start with number one, introspection, contemplation, actually thinking, giving yourself time to think, not about work, not about what you're supposed to be doing, but actually reflecting on how you feel. So this is something that I work with a lot in my yoga classes, for example, when I actually get everybody into a pose, I always say, notice how you're feeling. It's so important that we really are in tune with our own feelings and emotions, that we're not living outside of them, that we're honoring them by actually thinking about them. So that's my first step, is really just starting to notice how you're feeling. Okay. That's huge right there. That's going to be a game changer for most of us. Another one is, and many of you know, because I do this online sometimes with you guys, is meditation, or I'll call it centering techniques, right? Some people aren't comfortable with their meditation. So basically focusing your mind, that's what it is. Taking it from an active mind, which is thinking and bouncing and engaging, to a more quieted mind, a mind that can rest and replenish. Do you know they've actually done scientific research in the last few years that proves that meditation actually creates gray matter. It actually creates brain cells, right? So what the brain wants and what the mind longs for is solitude, is to be quiet. It doesn't have to be an hour. It could be 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, but this is very beneficial. Now, what kills brain cells? Do you know about that? I mean, there's lots of things that are not great for brain cells, as we know, but stress, being overstressed for long periods of time actually shrinks the part of your brain. So it's really important that we as a society actually take some of these practices to heart, because we're really shooting ourselves in the foot by not looking into it. Okay. Another practice that I personally do, being a yogi and also, studying and traveling and living in India for periods of times as I do, there's a word in the Eastern traditions, it's called japa. In Christianity, it would be like the rosary, or in Tibetan Buddhism, they do the prayer wheel. It's basically repetition of certain words or phrases. And it's also another way of centering, right? It's very similar to what I said just before. So it's a way to focus. So you could be repeating the word love or joy or om, or there's different mantras people use. Whatever it is, that's a way of focusing your mind on something that's pure, right? We want to focus on something that's uplifting, that has good energy. Like I said, in the Christian tradition, it's, they do it with the rosary, there's all different ways you can do it, all different traditions. So it's not specific to any tradition. And I love this practice. That's when you see people that have malas or these beads, this is for that practice. Japa. Yoga is fantastic. Okay. Yoga's amazing. I can't say enough about it. I call it the ultimate anti-ager, actually. And I'm not just talking about the body. I'm talking about skin, your ability to connect with others. It's just, the benefits are amazing. But there's also walking in nature, having a mindful walk. That could be considered a yogic practice, right? It doesn't have to physically be hatha yoga or physical yoga. Any sort of exercise that allows you to feel more relaxed and restored at the end of it is a great practice of self-love. Visualization or focusing. Now, this is a really powerful tool, and I know it's been spoken about many different times in our groups. What what do we want our outcome to be? And in fact, let's just take a second right now and just think of one thing that you really, really, really want to see happen, manifest, ignite. Just take a minute, call one thing to mind. The key here is to be very descriptive. Really focus on that thing. What does it look like? Who's in the room? Where is that room? What's the light like? Are there any sounds? As many descriptive qualities as you can conjure up, that's what's going to help your psyche, your soul, your energetic field call this into being. This is a really, really powerful step. I love doing this. And you'll notice that some of these lead into the other. So some of these practices, one can lead into the other and back and forth. And by the way, I'll post this afterwards. So you can take notes, but if you like, I can post them in the thread. So focused visualization is a wonderful tool. Keeping good company. This is massive. So one of my great teachers, one of my favorite quotes of hers is, "The company you keep creates your destiny." And it is so true. It is so true. So being in good company or building a precious community wherever you are. I'm going to give a little personal example. I live in a place that we chose to support my husband's career. He's a professor. So we live in this certain area that I may not have chosen for myself. And last year, so about this time, 1 year ago, the beginning of 2018, I decided that I wanted to have a beginner's mind about where I lived. Stop labeling, I told myself. Stop thinking I knew. And be more open. I don't know who's here. Anything is possible. I could cultivate this amazing community. And just by opening myself, what I really, really, really longed for was I wanted a women's group. I wanted to start a women's group, but I didn't really know enough people. Guess what I found? A women's group started last summer. I joined it. I have amazing, amazing relationships and friends from that group. So anything really is possible, but the key was I needed to be open. Right? I needed to really make the space for this to come into my life. If I had stayed in the voice of, I know this isn't what I wanted, labeling it, I won't even say the words anymore that I used to call my town. I don't do it anymore. Anyway, great stuff. Good company. Creating a precious community. Surrounding yourself with people that lift you up, right? You know the difference. When you're with someone that really makes you like almost tingly and giddy and you feel so great, that's what you want more of, right? When you're with someone that kind of makes you kind of shrink or look for the door or fidget or look down, maybe this isn't the kind of person you want to build a community with. So just getting really clear about who lifts you up. Okay. This next one's huge. Self-compassion, right? We can be so hard on ourselves. I was just messaging with a sweet friend about this morning on Instagram message about how powerful self-compassion is and not comparing ourselves and not judging ourselves, right? So there is something called mindfulness self-compassion, which I'm going to share a little bit later with you. It's a whole new movement. What's interesting about this movement is the mindfulness part is about connecting with our own feelings. And the compassion part is about caring for one's own welfare. So bringing in the connection of your feelings with your own welfare. So self-compassion, mindful self-compassion. I think you're going to hear a lot more about it. It's really amazing. And I'll tell you more about that in a little bit. Watching our words and thoughts. This is a big one, right? I mean, remember the rut I was talking about when we're sowing the field? We can get stuck and we can have tendencies towards stress, towards worry. I know my own mother was very addicted to worry and stress. And it took a lot of effort on my part to break this pattern. And it's actually, it was more of a matriarchal pattern. I think her mother did it as well. So I just saw it, and I knew that this isn't how I wanted to live my life. And so um, in India, there's a word, and it's one of my favorite words, and the word is mantrika. And what mantrika means is the words that we use and the thoughts that we have a power to them. They actually have an energy, right? And so this gets back to the japa, or the repeating of a mantra or a word that is lifting you up. Being mindful of our thoughts and our words and trying to steer them towards the positive. This can be hugely life-changing. I cannot recommend this more. So just try it. Just try it out. Allowing downtime in your schedule. Are you an overbooker? I know I am. I am so guilty of this, you guys. And this is one of the things I'm really going to be working on in 2019. And actually, the word for 2019 for me, one of my words started coming up last October, actually, was simplify. And that was my way of trying to make that space, right? Just trying to make a little more space for me, and not overbooking and not putting everybody ahead of my own needs. So this is why I was so excited about this call. I've been doing a lot of thought about it. So allowing for some downtime. Journaling. Journaling is a great way to observe our patterns, right? And so when we're writing, you know, you can notice, if I said that before, do I keep thinking the same thing? Maybe I should work in some other sort of thoughts. I find journaling very, very therapeutic. Another way is breath work. Breath work is extremely powerful way to calm yourself down and to focus your mind. It's actually been scientifically proven that the breath controls the mind. This is why in yogic practices, we control our breath. We try and link our breath to our movements. We try and elongate our breath, because when we do this, immediately our mind calms down. So this is a fantastic tool. Again, it's something you could use anywhere. You could be at the line at the grocery store. You could be applying for a bank loan and you feel yourself getting nervous. Nobody has to know you're doing it. I'll teach you a simple little technique in a little bit about how to work with your breath. A daily gratitude practice. Has anybody ever worked with gratitude, right? It's said that gratitude is a magnet for abundance. Gratitude is a magnet for abundance. So sometimes people just take either before they take their feet out of their bed, right first thing, or before they go to sleep, and jot down 3 things you're grateful for. Just have a little gratitude journal somewhere where you're going to see it every single day. That's a lovely practice. Another little thing I heard Rebecca Hinsey talking about. Rebecca Hinsey is a wonderful educator on emotions and emotional wellness. She was talking about finding your happy place, right? It might sound corny, but you know, a place that you know you would absolutely be blissed out. Maybe it's a beach somewhere in the Caribbean. Maybe it's hiking in Switzerland. You know, wherever this place is. Maybe it's at the Thanksgiving table with all of your family. Whatever it is for you, but having this place to be able to call to mind is a very powerful tool. So finding your happy place. And of course, essential plant medicine. What an amazing tool we all have on top of all those other things. And by the way, everything I'm going to mention can amplify those other practices. And I'll tell you more about that in a bit. But I'm going to name some oils that I think are to help support cultivating your practice of self-love. Lavender, Roman chamomile, petitgrain, bergamot, frankincense, magnolia, sandalwood, ylang ylang, and all the citruses. Okay. Now, I love all of these oils that I mentioned, and I actually wrote this up a while ago, so I will talk about petitgrain, which is the oil for today. But for different reasons, these help. And I pulled from the emotions book a few things that I wanted to share with you that just stood out for me, because I picked these actually in meditation. I kind of picked them as how I use them with doing some of these self-love practices, but I just want to read a little bit from this book for you. So for Roman chamomile, it says Roman chamomile supports individuals in discovering and living their true life's purpose. Purpose isn't defined simply by outward actions of an individual. It's housed within their heart and soul and radiates out into the world. As individuals live from the center of their being, they find power and purpose that's indescribable. Isn't that amazing? This is going to lead us right into our next practice that we're actually going to do together. We're going to do one live together. So Roman chamomile, right? A couple other little ditties. Oh, I didn't even mention it there. Green mandarin was on my list. This oil reminds individuals that they have a direct access to their pure potential and boundless opportunities. It encourages all of us to experience joy in the journey and never stop becoming. Joy in the journey. I love that. And then let me read a little bit. There's two more that I wanted to share with you. Tangerine. Tangerine has strong qualities of joyfulness that can uplift the darkest of moods and can assist those who feel cut off from the lightness feel cut off from the lightness of heart, often manifested by children. Those who feel overburdened by responsibility would benefit from tangerine's uplifting vibration. So all the citruses are great. And then I did want to talk to you a little bit about one of my favorite oils, petitgrain. So just so you know, I use petitgrain to help with healthy boundaries. I am an empath, which means that I very easily feel people's emotions. And it's a gift, but it also can be kind of intense, that I really, because I do wellness consults and I teach and I'm with the public a lot, I really need to apply the oils in my intention to protect my energy, so I'm not absorbing everybody's stuff, and I can stand in my highest integrity and serve others, right? Otherwise, if I just went around absorbing everybody's stuff, I wouldn't be very effective. So I'll just tell you, I take petitgrain every single day. I'll put a drop on my solar plexus. That's just above your belly button, that area. I do my throat. I'll do my wrist creases, and I do inside my elbow creases. And I also use melaleuca. I use those two for the same purpose, protecting, clearing, and healthy boundaries. So that's just a little personal note about petitgrain. Petitgrain invites all of us to see the gifts of their own ancestral traditions and will assist them in the efforts to heal unfinished and unresolved ancestral issues. This is amazing, you guys. What a gift this oil is, right? So it's very connected to our ancestry. Whether we think we have unfinished business with them or not, there's a lot that we don't know that's just been handed down. This is another area that Rebecca Hinsey talks about a lot in her books. I don't have it. It's over there on the shelf. Otherwise, I'd reference it. Maybe I'll grab it at the end. Anyway, there you go. So we've got our oils. Yay! In fact, you might want to grab one of those or a couple of those during this call to use them. So let's talk about finding our authentic voice. It may be quiet. it might be faint, and it might require time to be able to hear it and get in touch with it. But when you do, it's going to be amazing. When you align yourself with your inner voice, your inner authentic voice, there's no stopping you. That's when things start to click and there's kind of a knowing. So we are going to do a practice now together. If you would be interested in dropping in with me just for a minute of meditation or centering. Um, so if you're sitting down, just become aware of your sits bones or your thighs or your bottom on the chair. Gently feel the weight of your seat, or if you're standing, feel your feet on the floor. And if it's safe to, you can gently close your eyes. Just take a couple deeper breaths. And if you're not comfortable closing your eyes, you can just soften your gaze downward. And you're just going to start to bring some length into your spine. So imagine you could float the crown of your head up towards the sky. And as you breathe in deeply, go ahead and soften your jaw and your throat. Let's just release all the tension from your body. Just feel relaxed and alert. We're going to bring the awareness inside ourselves. So visualize a warm light emanating from the space inside your heart. In the very center of your heart, there's a small, beautiful flame. As we breathe in, this light brightens and expands out throughout your whole body. And as you exhale, it focuses back into the space around the heart. So just focus on this golden heart space for a couple rounds of breath. Expanding out with the inhale and gently receding, almost like an ocean wave, to the space around the heart as you exhale. What is your authentic inner voice trying to tell you? What is it we need to know right now in order to move forward toward our highest good? If you're experiencing any smaller or limited beliefs, if they tend to surface, simply place those right into that flame in the center of the heart. Just let them dissolve. Allow the fire and the light of your own truth to dissolve and release any thoughts that do not serve you. Let's take a nice deep breath in together and a long exhale. And one more deep breath in. And exhale out long. And as you're bringing yourself back to this space, I'm going to read you guys a couple quotes on love that I found that I find very inspiring. Marianne Williamson says, "Love is not just a passive something that the conscious person hopes to find someday. It is an emotional skill set, a consistent way of being, as opposed to the occasional stroke of luck. A consistent way of being." Good. So that exercise, that little, gosh, what was it? 3 or 4 minutes. It's not even a long thing, but that centering, that coming into yourself, finding space, finding quiet, that's where, if you're not used to hearing messages or getting insights from within, that's not coming directly from your mind or from external resource, that's where they could start to become obvious to you. And so that's called a dharana, or a centering meditation. There's many different kinds of meditation, but that's one that new people tend to enjoy. So um, here's another quote on love that I really like. This is from the professor Richard Davidson again. He says, "Love is a quality that obliterates certain kinds of boundaries. Love is a quality that obliterates certain kind of boundaries." So when we're looking to release and to shift and to grow to our next level or to attain our next goal, I love that we're supposed to include love. So um, one other thing I wanted to talk about, and this is from our one of our incredible coaches, that has had such an influence on so many of us in the essential wellness community. The amazing, I'm going to call her a catalyst coach. That's what I like to call her, Tiffany Peterson. She introduced me years ago to the concept of having a joy list. Okay. And, having write down 20 to 30 things on your personal joy list. This is for you and no one else. And it could be something that's free, or it could be something that's an investment, like a massage or a meal or a trip, whatever it is. Have your list and have it be big, have it a big, have quite a number of things on it. And I think I remember Tiffany saying, she said, not once a month, once a day, we should be doing something from our joy list. We should be doing something for ourselves, right? Imagine that. I can't even imagine. Sounds amazing. But I would love to try that with people if they're interested in writing on this thread, that the call's on, and if they're willing to try it. So one thing that brings me great joy is to spend time in nature. I It's a way to fill my cup, and I adore it. I love finding things. I wanted to show you guys this. I found this on the beach one time. Look at that amazing. I don't know if you can see it. There's a perfect heart in this shell. And, sometimes there are signs like that. Sometimes it just feels good. Sometimes it's a way that your whole nervous system can start to relax and you can feel more calm and grounded and centered. So that's another tip I had. I wanted to share the breath work ratio that is so helpful. Um, this is very basic. Um, Anybody can do this, and you may have heard it before, but it's a 4-4-4 count breath. So you would inhale to a count of 4, so slowing down the inhalation to a count of 4, and then you hold your breath or retain your breath for a count of 4, and then you slowly exhale it to a count of 4. And you could do this 5 times, 10 times, 15 times. You could do it before bed. It's a wonderful time. Like I said, if there's ever any tension or extreme stress that's coming up that's blocking you from self-compassion, self-love, it's a great time to put this into place. It's also a great thing to teach our kids. I think it's a wonderful tool and a simple tool that kids can use. Um, I wanted to mention the mindful self-compassion. It comes from a man named Chris Germer. That's Germer. And he has a website. I think it's chrisgermer.com, where he talks and teaches about this mindful self-compassion. And I have a whole nother technique, which I'm not going to take you through today, but we can do it at another point if people are interested. Let's see. I found an amazing meme that kind of sums the whole thing up that I wanted to read for you guys. And I'll post this in the thread as well. It says, note to self, treat yourself the way you would treat a small child. Feed yourself healthy food and make sure you spend time outside. Put yourself to bed early. Let yourself take naps. Don't say mean things to yourself. Once you shine, once you shine bright on the inside, it will naturally show on the outside. Love yourself. I just thought that was so great. And I'm going to keep that in a place where I can read it daily. And now I'm going to see if we have any questions. I can't quite see them on the chat, so I'm going to ask Tracy if anybody's chimed in and has any questions about anything we've talked about. One thing I did want to let you guys know is that I am in the process of designing an online course with using the essential oils in centering and grounding techniques. So if you're interested in that, you could direct message me or write in the thread and I'll hook you up. It's not quite ready, but I'm working on it. Anything out there, Trace? One thing I did want to let you guys know is that I am in the process of designing an online course with using the essential oils in centering and grounding techniques.
Hi, Asha. I don't see any questions right now, but we could give it a second.
Okay. I also wanted to say that today is the BOGO day. We've started our first BOGO of the week. And I want to tell you to please stay tuned to the Essential Wellness page. There's going to be incredible giveaways, opportunities, education, lots of goodies on the page this week. So stay tuned. It's going to be fun. And I'm so excited for both. And I love that they're starting with one of my very favorite ones, Petitgrain.
Feels so perfect.
Yes.
For self-love.
Exactly. So they call it, you've probably heard this before, some people refer to it as the male lavender. And I think they refer to that because it's just not as sweet as lavender. It's a little more earthy. It's from the orange tree branch and leaf. So it's a citrus. It's in the citrus family, but it has a more of a grounded aroma. I absolutely love it. And I love blending this. It makes a wonderful diffuser blend. I love it with bergamot, and orange, and lime, and actually spruces like Douglas fir and Siberian fir. It's really nice.
Do you want to tell people about the Essential Wellness BOGO page as well? Because that would be a great way for them to get more information too.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what we were talking about, but it's not. It's on a different page.
Yeah, so it's the Essential Wellness VIP BOGO BOGO group.
Okay, so there's
even people more. Search that and just request to be added. That's where all the BOGO action's going on.
Okay, thank you, Tracy. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Regular page. No, that's an amazing group. You guys got to say it again, Trace. What's the address?
It's the Essential Wellness VIP BOGO Week. That's what it's called.
You don't want to miss it. It's really incredible what's what's offered there. So, well, thank you guys so much for joining me. I really enjoyed doing a little research into this area because, like I said, this is a lifelong process. Cultivating self-love and self-compassion and these practices, it takes forever. And it's great though. I mean, you can feel a difference instantly. So it's totally worth it. And a little goes a long way. And like I said, I will post the list that I went over. I'm just trying to see if I had any notes that I wanted to share with you. I think we're good.
One quick mention about the BOGO page. I was just informed that it's a private page, so it is for our Essential Wellness members only. Right. So which I think a lot of the people who are listening to you today are members. So that's a side note.
Yes.
If you're not a member, talk to the person who
invited you to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And we can get you to be a member, and that'd be great. This is a great week to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, thank you. Thanks for joining. Good luck cultivating self-love practices. I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys, and we will be together again really soon.